Hey everybody, it's Doug Green and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and I'm very pleased to have with me today Maurie Munro, who's the Vice President of Enterprise Sales at TNS. Maurie, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Well, we're here at day 2, maybe day 3, depending on how you count it, at Channel Partner and MSP Summit. And so Maurie, first of all, what is TNS?
TNS is a company really split between 3 different divisions: a communication division, financial market division, and a payment division. Specifically, we're focused in the communication side, at least I am. And within that side, at the most simplistic level, we are focused in restoring the answer rates to mobile phones. It's an element that helps end consumers know they're being protected. We get certainly the calls connected, and most importantly, we verify those calls to the mobile devices themselves.
And is this what you call TNS Com?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's a whole division. Real briefly, what are the other divisions? What else do you guys do?
Within our payments division, you'll see the payment clearing. That is certainly a popular vertical for technology to ensure that those payments and those transactions are performed. Again, they also perform activities with the clearing of payment transactions and various transactions within the ATMs that you find out there. Additionally, the last division specifically is that financial market division. So that's going to be transactional clearing of trading transactions between different exchanges throughout the world.
Now, there's a trust issue. And so let's first of all define it. What is the trust issue that's out there?
It's simple. Nobody's answering their cell phone calls. We know that if it shows up as spam,
right,
at the easiest level, I'm not answering. I doubt you are as well. So we have lost the confidence that when somebody calls us, we either know who it is or know that we want to answer that call for whatever intended reason.
Now, I want to actually, we're not doing it. This actually happened in real time, but good happened. I'm literally here at our little podcast cove on Podcast Row here at Channel Partners. And Maurie, you called me just a few minutes ago, and I noted that when you called, although I'm not normally getting 214 numbers, it said 214, and there it was. There was your logo. It said TNS, very clear, very nice.
Right.
And so I knew that this was special. I knew this wasn't the usual AT&T spam risk, or just maybe it got through the AT&T filter.
Right.
I don't have you, I think. I don't have that number, at least, for my contacts, but that logo lit up.
It's an impression, and we want it to be that. We want, if you see that call coming in, we want it to be something recognizable.
Right.
You knew that I was probably your next participant on the podcast, and as I was looking to find you, certainly, hopefully that made the impression it did, and we were able to connect.
But I'm gonna go a little further. Although, I would, under normal circumstances, the 214 would, and under the circumstances, probably a legit call. But that logo really, I already knew who you was.
Right.
Right. And let's say I didn't know that it's connected to something. I still might think this is a call that I need to take or pay attention to. Or at least,
it's a very, very good defining element of an inbound call. If you see a logo, effectively that call has to be verified before the logo can be delivered. And we'll find that to also be the case in messaging. When you see logos on your messages, those too have been verified. So as we try to escape the world of impersonators who are always here trying, if we do answer our phone, to trick us, if you see a logo, you can at least rest with some level of confidence knowing that that call came from the originator of whoever that logo may be.
So we have a bunch of high-touch industries. We've got banking, healthcare, retail, and contact centers. Is a lot of your work done with them?
I would say the first 2 verticals you mentioned are the most impacted negatively. And yes, the greatest focus of ours is financial institutions and healthcare.
Yeah, because literally what you're talking about is if the physician belongs to a medical group, his call, I need to know that that's a trusted call. His associates, the hospital, banking, American Express, my bank, and so on. This is what we're talking about.
And we want the consumer,
Right.
the customer, the patient to get the critical call that, for all intents and purposes, if they don't recognize that number, as I mentioned, there's a very low likelihood the calls will be answered. I believe the answer rates could be in the single digits.
Right.
So if you can't overcome that through any other method than just retrying, the best avenue to do so is to put a name display, or as we mentioned, that logo. And then that creates a customer experience that individual associates with that enterprise. So they want to do business with you because you made it easier for them to know who's calling.
Now let's dive into the world of what I would call the sort of the legitimate, not as wanted phone call.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got collections would be maybe the top of that list.
Sure.
But also maybe calls that might be interpreted by the recipient as, hey, you're trying to sell me something, but calls where the two parties have business together.
In cold calling instances, there's still the opportunity to brand. I think that familiarity enough to know that if you see a name display, you can make a somewhat of an educated decision
Right.
on whether or not you want to answer. And if you do, the correlation between the individual calling you and that name display, you may not want to take their call or want their service, but there's an element of trust that
Right.
was increased simply because they were who they say they were.
Now, Maurie, let's stay on this for a second, because I think, again, there's like a sort of a galaxy of phone calls. I'm thinking about American Express because they call customers for different reasons. Now, that actually might be a collections call. You kind of want to hear that maybe you forgot the payment or didn't go through, or there's something wrong. In other words, you probably value your relationship with them, that and other organizations, that you actually, although you're not happy to get the call, you want it. Does that play out with use of logo? In other words, the logo with American Express or your bank, it means more success, right?
Think of the value. If you saw that call, maybe you're in the middle of something, but it was enough of an alert to you that
Right.
it happened to be a payment you missed.
Right.
You get that opportunity to go back and perform the action that call intended.
Right.
So we want and recognize that it doesn't have to be always answered.
Right.
But if you see an individual
right.
or a name display that you recognize, you probably know why they're calling.
So I know that's a call I need to. I'm busy. I'm doing work with you. My bank calls. Gee, I wonder what's up. I bet I should call.
Mm-hmm. And it could be something that you're absolutely aware you're a few days late and you want to catch up.
Or it might be a dispute, right?
Yes,
I mean, or something like that.
And what you'll find in the banking industry is the complete bombardment of calls that aren't from the bank itself, impersonating by a very simple attribute of using their phone numbers. It's not technically challenging. And in doing so, the manipulation of the end consumer has gotten so bad, even legitimate calls are now being questioned, where they don't trust that you do, even though you are from the bank, they won't even trust that you are, requiring a call back and the inconvenience that goes with it.
Right. Let's go further. So let me sort of tie in some dots here. We're here at Channel Partners and MSP Summit. What do you offer? What's your message to these guys? Is this a service they can be reselling? Is this a service they themselves actually should be using?
Sure. Any of the MSPs are the conduit to increase the experience of their end consumers, their end customers, the enterprises themselves. So we are here to promote a technology that is highly simplified. It's a name display, it's a logo, it's a verification of a call. And if that's taken to their customers, if that's taken to them in an educational way, making them aware this technology is available, they benefit as the consultant, the customer or the enterprise benefits, and of course their customers benefit. And we're able to kind of perpetuate this notification technology. How many of us have a Ring doorbell on our camera, on our front door?
Right.
We are a pre-notification society now. Why aren't we doing it on our phone calls? It's the most kind of perplexing question that we we buy these campaigns, sometimes buy business leads to $20,000, $25,000, but never tell anybody who we are.
Right.
So this is the promotion of that. Just simply alert who we are, and wireless endpoints will reflect that name.
Maurie, you talked about fraud and spoofing. Tell very briefly, just tell me a little bit about that and how that's a serious problem.
The whole concept is call authentication. We want the only enterprises that own the number, the enterprises that own the phone numbers effectively, can make calls to their customers. Now, we recognize that there is a preponderance of calls being made from illegitimate origination points worldwide, using the numbers of legitimate organizations. And unfortunately, those calls go to the same consumers, and in doing so, attempt to defraud them, either through monetary means, stealing personal information, through, say, a Medicare scam. All of this degrades the trust the consumer has in that enterprise. So if we are able to authenticate the call by simply associating that phone number only to that company and allowing the termination of the call to the wireless endpoint, well, then there's that correlated trust. And that consumer that receives the call knows that it must only be from that banking organization or healthcare organization. It disables the capability of an impersonator to use that number. So this authentication process is very simple. It's a pre-call deposit and then a verification at the terminating end of that deposit. Once that's done, the call goes through. If you don't make the deposit, then your call won't simply go through. It won't even ring the device. So it's a very easy technology, but still one that we're working on the adoption universally throughout the industry.
Maurie, as we wrap up our brief podcast today, what are we looking at ahead? And again, what are the opportunities there for the MSP and channel partner community?
It's an excellent experience. It's an excellent opportunity to take this perspective to the enterprises they represent, and in doing so, inject this caller or branded caller ID technology and the spoof protection to afford their enterprises a greater experience to connect with their customers, and in doing so, restore and rebuild trust.
Maurie, I really want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for taking time out at this busy show.
My pleasure.
Where can we learn more?
You can certainly learn more at www.tnsi.com, specifically the communications page. And in doing so, we're happy to walk you through any additional interest you may have.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.